Spotlight is a production of CTNY, the Catholic Television Network of Youngstown. It seeks to spotlight people, places, and events from around the Diocese of Youngstown that promote the new gospel of joy called for by Pope Francis. Your program host is Father James Corda.
Hello and welcome to Spotlight. I'm Father Jim Corda. Today we're going to talk about Sophia and Willow Women's Centers. And joining me in today's show is Joanne Feeney and Carrie Pennington. Welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you for having us.
It's nice to have you both on. You know, in the past we've had an opportunity to talk with Tia Saferno about the Willow Women's Center. And this is basically the same type of center, but in two different locations. You're in Salem and you're in Mercer County. And we're going to ask each of you one at a time to kind of share with the folks that are with us just the beginnings of how those particular respective centers started. So why don't we start with you, Joanne?
Okay. We started actually back in the late 80s. A ministry started. It was called Pregnancy Services of Western Pennsylvania, and that was in Sharon, PA. And about 2013, the director and the board decided that they wanted to kind of explore other options because they felt like they were taking away that physical burden that new mothers might have by offering them resources as far as, clothes and that sort of thing. So they started doing some research and they came upon Bella and the Compass Care model. And so they did a little research and met with Tia and discussed all of that. And Tia was wonderful, and Bella has been, our mentor through all of it. So we opened as Willow Women's Center, a pregnancy medical center, in February of 2015.
And how did you get the name Willow?
Well, they did a lot of study, I guess. They actually hired a company to kind of walk through that process with them as far as choosing the name and the logo and just the different colors and decorations and things to make it feel comfortable and attractive to the girls who we wanted to serve.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, let's have Carrie tell us about Sophia in Salem.
Okay. Very similar story. Lifeline of Columbiana County started back in 1981. And they were also a resource center. And up through 2014, they realized that they weren't reaching the abortion-minded woman. And they did a lot of praying as a board, and they realized that that they needed to have a different model. And so they did contact Tia Saferno from Bella Women's Center, and she came down and spoke with the board and toured that center and realized that we needed a whole new vision and really needed to take a step of faith. And so the board did, a church locally stepped up and raised many dollars, and they found a center. And we opened in September of 2015 as Sophia Women's Center.
And how did you get the name Sophia?
Sophia means wisdom.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Very
so
good.
We want to be wise in how we reach out to these women.
Very good. I had an opportunity to visit the Bella Women's Center, and at some point I'd love to visit both, Sophia and Willow, just to not compare, but just to see the wonderful work that's going on there. I know that Bella has certain services. I'm not familiar if both Sophia and Willow have the same services, so maybe you could tell the folks that are with us about the particular services that you provide at each center.
Okay. We provide pregnancy testing, ultrasounds, and STD testing to the girls at no cost to them, of course, and then options consultation as far as going through all of their options with them and just giving them a comprehensive overview of the options that are available. Right now, that is pretty much what we are limited to, but we're looking to grow that in the near future.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Carrie, what about Sophia?
Yeah, very similar. We also have a post-abortion study, a Bible study that reaches out to women who have suffered spiritually, emotionally from an abortion, and it's a 10-week Bible study that we walk women through who've had an abortion in the past, and they realize that they are hurting and need God's forgiveness.
You know, it's interesting because as you talk about that, I look at my own ministry and how I experience women who do have that onus or that burden of an abortion, and how difficult it is to really take that step to forgive oneself. And any service you could provide for them to help them with that is really crucial. Why is that need to forgive yourself so imperative so to move on?
I think forgiveness, given from God, it just frees you, it frees you from that burden that you're carrying. And so many of those girls, made that decision. Sometimes they regret it right away. Sometimes they don't regret it, for years. But, I just think that forgiveness is so key in their just recovery and getting, moving on with their life.
Do you find that that's difficult, that it takes time? Are there some who take longer than others in your experience?
When speaking out in the community and in churches, many women will come up to me after the service, after I've shared, and said, I wish you were around when I was seeking help or seeking support. And so we're so thankful that you're here now reaching women who feel like they have no hope. Right. So I think women are still afraid to come forward and say, I need help, I need the Lord's forgiveness. They're afraid, there's shame, I think, in that. And God is such an amazing God that He wants healing for these women. He wants to restore their lives and give them that testimony of His forgiveness. So we just want women to feel safe and secure to come forward and walk through that with us.
Let's talk about, we've got a few minutes left of our first segment. Let's talk about some of the women, not by name, but some of the people that come to you. What kind of women come to you, and what exactly are they seeking?
So many of them come in our doors just so scared and frightened, some come with an intention in mind, but some just have no idea, what they're going to do. And as far as their choices go, even the ones who choose abortion, they sometimes, right away, they tell you that that's their decision, and they just break down in tears. Those girls don't really want to choose that abortion. Sure. They feel like it's their only choice at that time. It's either, their life or the baby's life, and they make that decision out of fear, and that's kind of our goal, to make them feel loved and comfortable and empowered, to turn that fear into confidence so that they make, the best choice for them, and hopefully a life-affirming choice.
Yeah, and I would think one of the first experiences that they have when they come into your facility needs to be someone who's welcoming and hospitable and gives them that sense of hope. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. I think, that's our aim, is even at that first phone call, we want them to feel welcomed and loved over the phone and hear a kind voice. And so when they walk into our center, and both of our centers are beautiful, they walk into a place that is done so excellent and beautiful. We want that woman to know that she is beautiful, and we know that she's created in God's image. And so if we can even give that to her when she walks through our doors, I think that we're starting off on the right foot.
Great. We're going to talk more about that in a moment, but we're going to take a quick break, so please stay with us. We'll be right back.
My name is Sister Mary Claudina, and I run a home for abandoned children. I want to take care of children who have no parents, because luckily I come from a very loving family. There are 8 of us. And I remember when one of my cousins got sick, and she called my mom and said, Mom, the doctor has said that I might not have too long to live. Will you please raise my 3 children for me? I remember we had a meeting at home, and my dad called a meeting, and my mom was explaining to all of us. And my father said, this powerful word, he said, we already have 8. What is 3 more? We learn to care for each other, to love each other, to fight among each other, to make up, to forgive, to just to be a family. And I think that's what I learned from home, and I wanted to share that with children who do not have that love and that opportunity just to know what a family is all about.
What have you done for your marriage today?
I gave my wife a hug this morning. I told her I love her.
I did her hair this morning. I think it looks pretty good.
I cooked my husband's favorite breakfast.
I bought her an orchid.
What have I done for my marriage today? I sent my husband a love email.
I read the newspaper to my wife, and it cracked her up. But she's still laughing.
What have you done for your marriage today? Make a change for the better. Need help? Go to foryourmarriage.org, a message from the Catholic Church.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm talking with Joanne Feeney and Carrie Pennington about Willow and Sophia Women's Centers. Now, one of the things that I think that's probably common for the two centers would be the needs that you have, but also your objectives and your goals. So can you share some of those with us?
Sure. Our needs, of course, besides the financial support and even the supplies that we provide for the girls, the prayerful support of the community is so key for us. Just praying that we are always putting God first and just following His lead in this ministry that is His. You know, we're just partnering with Him and serving Him. As far as goals go, Willow is at an interesting spot. I just started as director in August, and we are kind of expanding right now, hopefully, you know, going into parenting classes and post-abortive classes. We see the need, and it's so necessary to follow, you know, along with these girls in their journey and continue to support them. Oftentimes, that line of communication isn't always open, especially if they choose abortion. But we want to work on that and hopefully keep that line of communication open so that we can be there, you know, for a good support, you know, system for them. Because sometimes they don't get that, you know, in their own families and friends all the time. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Good. And how about Sophia?
I think still we want to focus on getting the word out about who we are, our mission, why valuing life is so important in our community. Since we've opened, we've seen women from over 46 zip codes come to us, to Salem, Ohio, which has really shocked us. And so I think if we educate those in our Salem and the Columbiana County that the need is great, and if we all partner together, we will reach the right women and serve them well and see lives changed.
Yeah. Let's go back to something that I think both of you have highlighted, is that I think that you're doing God's work. I mean, I know my first experience of talking about the women's centers, that's the driving force. So that's kind of like what gives you energy and what directs the work that you do. And I would even say the ministry that you do, because if you're doing it in that realm, then it's obviously successful, going to be successful, it's going to be reaching hearts and changing lives. And that's primarily what I think the goal is to not force someone to change, but to love them enough to change. Is that
absolutely
appropriate to say that?
Yes, and I think that's why this model works, because it is so neutral. Not neutral in heart, but neutral in presentation. We don't coerce or, you know, push our views or goals on these girls. We just tell them the truth and pray that, you know, the Holy Spirit continues to work in their hearts and change their hearts. It certainly isn't us saving these babies' lives. It's someone much larger than us. Our God is an awesome God, and He works miracles every day. And it's just so awesome to see in these girls that we serve.
Sure. Let's talk about that whole need of respect life. You know, that's something that is not just about abortion, but life issues are just so vast. And if we look at the bigger picture, that all of life is a gift from God, and that what we're to be about is to respect that in one another. So how do you celebrate that at each of your centers?
I think you have to think, you know, we look back at Scripture and how life begins at conception, and we know that that the womb is a safe haven for these babies that are growing there and are being knit together. But we also have to think about how we respect life always up until the old age, and how you know, Jesus, or actually in James 1:27 talks about religion that is pure and undefiled as this, as, you know, reaching out to the orphans and widows, and we think about the orphan in the womb, and that's who our focus is, who we're reaching. You know, that woman who walks through our door, she has already made a determination that this baby is to be orphaned, and our goal is to love that woman enough to see that life is valuable. And I think if we do that, we're doing the mission of God, and we're doing it as well.
Sure. So. I never would have thought to use that term in response to about a baby in the womb. But it's a powerful image when you think about that, and especially nowadays when we look around at this complex and complexing world we live in, and the issues that surround women and children in particular across the world, and how many are orphaned because of a disrespect for human life, and what we can do in our small ways at times to help heighten the awareness of the need to be respectful about human life is really valuable and important.
Absolutely, and I think too, just respecting the women who come in. I mean, we have to give them value before they will give value to their child. And not only, the women that we serve, but just as far as respecting life in general, like Carrie said, it's everyone. We are all made in God's image. The rich, the poor, the intelligent, we just all need to look at that differently and just learn to respect everyone,
Sure. The ladies that come to you, the women that come to you, do they come alone sometimes, or do they come with others? What kind of situations do you find yourself in?
Some come alone. Most of them do bring someone, whether it be the father of the baby or a mother, or some just come with a friend. Oftentimes, that person is the only other person that knows and may ever know, depending on the decision that they make. Yeah.
Is that your experience too, Carrie?
Definitely. Yeah. We actually, right at this moment, we have 4 patients coming in today, and that woman called and she said, "I'm coming alone. Is it safe to come there? And so we, 3 phone calls later, reassured her that you come to us, it's a safe place to be, and we'll make sure that you're taken care of very well." So,
Why is it important in our last few minutes of our middle segment to give them a sense of safety and security? Is there because of what's going on inside themselves or in their outside world, or both?
I think both. Obviously their own lives are, they're torn up inside per se, with a shock that they weren't expecting and just a big decision to make. But oftentimes too, they are hearing, our world, our culture, is the culture of death often, and that's what they hear. And not only in the culture worldwide, but in their own families and their own friends, they're hearing different voices and opinions from them as well.
Right. We're going to talk more about that in a moment, but we're going to need to take another break, so please stay with us. We'll be right back.
There is a place where a total stranger will give you their blood. There is a place where someone you never knew will save your child from drowning. A place where people from 7 states away will turn up at your door and give you food and shelter after a flood. There's a place where a person who doesn't look like you, talk like you, or dress like you will stretch out their hand and put it across your shoulders and say, "Everything is going to be okay." That place is called America, where we look out for each other, and it's up to us to keep it that way. When you help the American Red Cross, you help America.
Well, I've been volunteering for 18, almost 20 years for volunteer chore service for Catholic Community Services. What I do is help the elderly in their homes so that they can stay in their homes. I do work from shopping to housework to yard work. Most of the people I see don't really have a lot of family, so then I become almost like their family.
I think a lot of times the elderly in our society are forgotten. And that's unfortunate because they're a really important part of our community because they have so much wisdom to share.
Doing this type of work is very rewarding. You can't put it into words because I learn so much from these people, and you learn stuff about yourself too. You learn to see God in a variety of people, in a variety of settings. The other day she told me that every night when she goes to bed, she thinks about her little angel, when her little angel's going to come and check on her the next day. And that's me, yeah.
Welcome back to our show. We're talking about the Sophia and Willow Women's Centers. Joanne and Carrie, both of you are directors in your respective facilities. I'm sure that you have a support staff and also, in some cases, perhaps volunteers. What are some of the support staff roles that they play, and how important are those people for you?
We have a staff of 8 right now, and that was one of the biggest blessings that I know when I came on to the staff in August. Our staff is amazing. The girls are wonderful, and they are so committed to this ministry. But we have different roles. We have a girl who actually meets with the family members who are, when the patient comes in, she will meet with the family members while the patient's going through her appointment. We have a patient advocate that actually walks through the appointment with the patient. The whole, she's with them the whole time. We have a sonographer who does amazing work, and obviously that ultrasound is oftentimes the key piece to that girl's change of heart. And then we have a nurse on staff that's available all the time at our center when we're seeing patients. We also have 2 medical directors, 2 doctors in our area who obviously we wouldn't be able to provide these services without them.
Sure.
And our board too is such a huge support to us. As far as volunteers, we have a couple. We're looking to do more with volunteers as far as possibly being like church liaisons or just helping us with different functions throughout the year.
Good. Carrie, tell us about Sophia.
We're set up very similar. I do want to mention our volunteers. We've had people step forward and said, my gift is landscaping. Can I come landscape your center? And so that is a huge blessing. We've had a group from a local church say, we'd love to come clean and take that burden off your staff. Or we have a couple nurse volunteers who stepped up and said, actually, it's interesting, the story is, I was at the post office and I ran into an old coworker and she said, well, what are you up to these days? And I said, well, let me tell you. And I had to share the story about Sophia and how we reach out to these women. And she said, I would love to get involved. She works at the hospital. And so she's actually now one of our nurse volunteers who's learning the role to help and meet that need as well. So we also have another nurse volunteer who's following up with patients. So it's amazing how when you share the mission of the center, many people come forward and said, this is my gift, how can I bless the center? And so we're always looking for people who want to step up and use their gift for God, for the work that we're doing.
That's wonderful. And we know that the work is not free. It's free to them, but it's not free to the community. So you do need those generous folk, those people of stewardship who give their treasure to the communities. So tell us a little bit about some of the fundraising efforts that both of you are involved with.
Our main fundraiser is the banquet we hold in the fall. This is going to be the first year that we're going to actually have 2 of them because we were kind of filled to capacity last year. And usually at the banquet, we share with them, obviously, the process and how we do that. Sometimes we have a speaker. We often have patients, sharing their stories, which is usually what stirs those, in attendance the most, because they love to hear, how they're really helping that girl. Yeah.
And the same?
Yeah, very similar. We had our banquet just a couple weeks ago.
Very good.
And we're also looking for new ideas and people who want to partner with the mission. We want people to monthly think about how can we be a blessing towards life and partner with us monthly. We have a newsletter that goes out, and I'd love for people to contact us about being a part and hear the work that's going on, hear the stories of these girls, and after they've landed on life, hearing the blessing that child is to them. It's so exciting to have that story forward.
How do the 2 of you see you growing in the future? Is that something that you want to have happen?
Yes, we at Willow, right now we're kind of going through the process. We rent our space in our building right now. The doctor actually has generously donated it to us for the past few years, but his practice is moving him, so the building is going to be vacant, the other half of it. So we are looking to buying that right now. Wonderful. And we, like I said, we do want to expand our services to, pregnancy or parenting classes and post-abortion counseling and that sort of thing, because we think that's so important to follow the girls along that journey.
Sure. And what about Sophia?
We're hoping to add another day of patience to our schedule. As of right now, we're open Tuesday evenings and Thursdays, and today we're full. So when we have a full patient day, we were thinking, oh, we need one more day open so we can meet the need, because we would want every woman to come to us first before making any decision. So.
In our final minutes together, what would you like to share with the folks that are with us about the work and the ministry that you do that might engage them, maybe not necessarily to participate in your respective centers, but to be aware of this whole issue of respecting human life?
I think, like Carrie said, we really want to get the word out into the community, and we want to share how we treat these women, how we do meet them with love at the door, and how we serve them with just no judgment. We serve them and we pray for them, and just hope that, through this hard time that they're facing, that through us, maybe they'll grow closer to God, or even find God for the first time. And land on choosing life for their child, so that they don't have to, go through that burden of having had an abortion and, suffering if they so do.
And Carrie, how about you?
I was thinking about, if, a woman, and if she's feeling supported and secured, obviously she'll make the decision for life. But how, as a community, or as, a follower of Christ, how do we help that woman? How do we support her? And I was thinking, kind of sharing my story a little bit. At 16, I was pregnant with my daughter. And by one family member, I was told to abort. By my grandmother, who was a faithful Catholic lady, she took my hand and said, I'm going to help you. I'm going to pray for you and support you. And it was that hand, that grabbing of my hand and that love, that helped me land on life. Right. And what a blessing that was to have that support during that certain time of your life, to love my life. And I think that any chance that we get to come alongside a woman who's in that season of her life, who's struggling, if we come alongside her in prayer and support, and be the church, be Jesus to her, I think that we'll have an eternal impact, and we'll be storing our treasures in heaven. So I think this ministry affects eternity in more ways than one. And to go forward with that story, my daughter is a junior at Bible College.
Wonderful. Going
on the missions field next year. And so if that life could have easily been snuffed out, God had a plan for that life, and is now serving the Lord. So it's very exciting to hear.
Beautiful story.
It is.
Thank you very much. And I think it's these experiences that we have that speak to people, because it's not the sword, it's not force or coercion, it's just loving them and showing them the example that the Lord has blessed us with, and that we can share with others. And so we certainly thank Joanne Feeney, Carrie Pennington, for the wonderful work that you do at your respective centers. We certainly ask the Lord to continue to bless both of you, the folks that are with you, the support staff, the volunteers, and also in your fundraising efforts. We know that it's important. We know that it's something that is doing the work of God. So we thank you very much for that.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for being with us. Have a good day, and God be with you.
Spotlight has been a production of CTNY, the Catholic Television Network of Youngstown. Your program host was Father James Corda.